Sunnyvale High School. Memories. George Buchanan. Man, I tell you what, there's nobody that graduated Sunnyvale High School, including my sister-in-law. I think George Buchanan was there in 1960 when you graduated. And he was there when my brother was there in 57. But George Buchanan was an institution. And I think he felt I belonged in an institution. but he was a kick in the pants. And Malcolm, you know, because you visited his wife and them many, many times.
Beautiful Norma.
And it's a shame that he's gone, but he left behind a lot of people, a lot of people that loved him. He didn't personally have any children, but he had students.
Many children.
Hundreds, including thousands.
What's the opening line there when they were saying in dedication?
Actually, my wife worked on this dedication page, Carol Henry.
Carol Henry, and she graduated in what year?
1964.
The same as you.
Yeah, so we were working on the staff together. And I was supposed to get the picture of Kennedy because I was involved with the Democratic Club and I procrastinated. She ended up getting that, and she was supposed to help with this, and I think she did the whole thing. And
there's our principal.
Mr. Stanga. Now, let me tell you a story about 1964 graduation with Mr. Stanga. And you being a freshman were probably at that last assembly when we got back from the all-night party. And Mr. Stanga is up in front of the whole student body in the gymnasium, 2,000 students and faculty. And he's going on about this is the greatest class that ever was. You know, the
Which it is.
Saddest, teary stuff, you know, and I'm going to miss you guys and all this stuff. And my buddy Kenny Wing, and me decided we were going to do
all 5'5" of them, as I recall.
Yeah, in fact, but he's grown now he's taller than me. But he had this little case and it had scissors in it, a pair of scissors, and he had it in his jacket.
I smell hijinks.
And we stood up in the middle of his talk, and both of us walked towards him, the front of the middle of the stadium where he was talking, and I put my hand out. He took out the scissors, put them in my hand. I grabbed him by his tie, Mr. Stanga's tie, come on, had his tie, and I cut that sucker right off with the knot. And then I held it up like a power salute, like Malcolm X, you'd appreciate it, right? And I held it up, and danced around, and the place went crazy for like a half hour, total. And I walked out of Sunnyvale High School, never to set foot on the campus again. That was it. Now, as a follow-up to that, at the 25th reunion, they asked me to give a little spiel, about the class or something, to get serious, right? So I'm doing this serious little spiel. What a setup it was. And then I look out there and I see this creepy old guy going back and forth in the audience, sneaking up, right? And I look at him, and I keep looking at him, and I go, he looks familiar. This old guy in a suit and a tie, right? And he comes up on stage and grabs me by the tie, takes out a pair of scissors, and cuts my tie off, and holds it up, and then walks out and never came back.
And you've been wearing turtlenecks ever since.
That's it, no tie. And his last words as he was walking out was, I've waited 25 years for this, Engel King, 25 years.
So wait a minute, I'm confused. Engel King, McDonald, explain.
All right, let's talk about that, because when I came back from Vietnam in 1967, I was walking the streets of downtown Sunnyvale, and one of my friends, who will name not anonymous, one of the classmates, comes to me and says, hey, Bill Engel King, how you doing? And I go, no, that's not who I am. I'm Bill McDonald, and I take him out my ID and everything, and I show him who I am, and he goes, no, you're Bill Engel King. I said, no, that's my cousin. He says, oh, you look just like him. I said, yeah, I get that all the time. I said, but between me and you, the man's an asshole. And the guy goes, oh yeah, and he walks away, right? So I'll never mention his name, but it was funny. But what happened was I was using my stepdad's name through school, and so in high school I had a selective service card, the draft board, with Engel King, and I had one with McDonald, and I had a driver's license at Engel King and a driver's license at McDonald, and then I had a passport only in one name. So when I graduated high school, I had to get rid of my aliases, and I started using my real legal name.
And you're still friends with Linda, aren't you?
Oh, Linda Province. I talked to her about 3 weeks ago. She's still the loveliest of people that ever were. In fact, let's talk about it. Let's go to the senior pictures in here, just for the heck of it. Where are they? In the back of the
book.
There we go. All right. Jim Miller. He's out there, and the guy's at his age, our age, I'm ashamed to say, I'm not that fit. He's out there running marathons still. He runs a 100-mile race from Lake Tahoe or wherever it's at down to Sacramento. Kenny Wing's taller than me and smarter than me. That's
Kenny Wing.
I always knew he was smarter.
Yeah, Kenny Wing.
And Lorraine Wright, I don't know where she's at, but she's beautiful wherever she's at. But I've been still in touch with most of these people that are out there. Well, here's Ken Arnold, who's no longer with us. It's a real shame. Nice guy. And if you come over here, when I was coming back from Vietnam, I found out that Joe Baza and Jim Berard, and Jim Berard was a real good friend of mine, played on my recreation basketball team. They got killed in Vietnam.
Sad chapter.
Yeah, very sad chapter, but they weren't the only ones. But and then Jim Carter, who transferred into our class.
He was a football player.
Yep, in our junior year from Oregon, which, I mean, geez, he had to be good. He was coming from Oregon, right? Coming from Coos Bay, North Bend. So he comes in, checking in, and I took him to introduce him to Coach Carroll.
Legendary coach.
And I told him, I said, hey, this guy's an all-star. I mean, I built the guy up. I said, this guy's an all-star up there at Marshall High School. And, oh, really, right? So he tried out for the team, and he made it, and he was gung-ho and everything else. He went on to become a Green Beret, and he got a field promotion as an officer. I think he retired as a lieutenant colonel or bird colonel or something. But he did really well. In fact, he ran for office in Georgia and got elected. He was like a county commissioner or something. And he ran as Republican, so it was a big deal on the news back there about Jimmy Carter, the Republican.
Oh, got it. I'm with you now.
And he was running against somebody named Reagan, I think. So it was really kind of funny. That was a big deal about that. And so yeah, it was just beautiful people. All these memories as I go back here.
Bill, what really hits you when you just flip to this? It's 50 years ago. You were just getting ready to graduate.
Well, actually, yeah.
1964.
Actually, I was ready to graduate about 68 years ago. I didn't want to go to school. But yeah, it's 1964. We're going on our 50th anniversary this summer. And it's going to be interesting seeing some of the people. But here's the interesting thing about our class, which is unique to class of 64, is we're pretty much in touch with everybody. I mean, I'm in touch with Jim Carter, Bob Brooks. I mean, I go right down the list. I mean, I look at all these people. There's at least
just go through them.
5 or 6 people on this page that I'm in touch with. I haven't seen Beiser in a long time, but I mean, there's just memories and memories and memories on here. It's just beautiful people. I mean, it was a good time. I mean, these guys just turned out to be good human beings as they grew up and everything. Deanne DeRoyd, she became a foreign exchange student after her junior year and went to Germany during our senior year. And then she went on to Stanford University. She became a doctor, and she was like Woman of the Year of Nebraska like a couple of years ago.
Fantastic.
She's like a real, doing all these things for Native Americans and Indian tribes and stuff, and women's health. And so she's really, it's a big thing there. And boy, it's just, Steve Ellis, he lives out there in Nevada. I get emails from him all the time. And oh, there's me.
There's the man.
That's the man. That's what I look like.
There's Reverend Bill.
That's Reverend Bill when I was an Ingle King. And right down here with Johnny Figueroa, Johnny the Jet.
Johnny the Jet, the legendary Johnny Fig.
Fastest man in Northern California. In fact, I think that one year he was probably the fastest high schooler on the West Coast. And he went on to Idaho, I believe, University of Idaho. He had a scholarship. And then, of course, Mike Foley passed away, and he was the class president one year and school president. And he graduated college, became a lawyer, and then he crashed flying his airplane in the Sierra Nevadas in Northern California during a storm or something. So he passed away.
Oh, there was a rumor that on the Wonder Years, the gal that played Winnie Cooper.
Yeah.
Her mom was a graduate of
yes, she
what was her name?
Yes, she is. She's in here. Hang on a second.
Yeah, we can just keep going. And
we'll get to her. We'll get to her. So, yeah.
And a lot of these students had brothers and sisters.
Lots.
Bigger families.
Becky Dinrich, she lives up by me. She lives up in the Sierra Nevada. She became a school teacher. And she teaches up by, El Dorado Hills area.
Right.
And does I just saw on Facebook the other day, she does this beautiful quilt that was in the Folsom quilting show. Ruben Gonzalez. When I come back from Vietnam, he was in the U.S. Army. And I went from a door gunner Huey guy to my last year in the Army. They didn't know what to do with me, so they sent me to Lifeguard School. And one of the guys in the Lifeguard School was
Small world.
Ruben Bob Gonzalez. And there was like 248 guys started the school, and only 40-something of us graduated, and he was one of them. And I was number one. So we were like the top of the group.
You're a jet. You got to be number one.
Yeah, it was kind of cool. And anyway, Marianne Hill, she lives in the Bay Area. And Nancy Hallmark, Romy, I think she goes by now. She lives down there by Salinas. Where's Lee Head? I thought she was in there. Oh, there we go. We're starting to get into some people here we know now. Oh, Lee Head.
Yeah.
She was one of the first in the class to go. She
passed away.
She was well, no, actually, some unsavory circumstances down in Mexico.
Oh no.
A single car crash, and everybody had their heads broken, and everything was stolen.
Oh, not good.
So that was kind of a strange thing. Now, Mike Harrison. I got orders to go to Vietnam. I come back from Fort Campbell, Kentucky, and I'm in the Bay Area. And I find out that he's getting married to fellow classmate Donna Dixon. And let me see if I can find Donna's pictures. And I'm invited to the wedding, and not only is ABCD Dixon, where you at, Donna? Right there, Donna Dixon. That was his bride-to-be. Richard Knapp. There's some guy.
Rich Knapp? I remember
Rich
that,
Knapp. There was Richard Knapp.
Let me see a picture. Hold that. Yeah.
Richard Knapp, and there was Virgil Pate.
Virgil Pate played softball with him.
Yeah, and there was Kenny Wing, and there was this whole group of guys that I used to refer to as the Sakamoto gang.
No, Sakamoto would be.
Paul Sakamoto. And he was a student director of activities or something back then. And
Yeah.
all these guys, Mike Foley was one of them, and they'd all hang around his office. Now, see, I didn't have my own gang. I was one of these guys that was gang friendly with everybody. I wore all the colors. I was with everybody. I was with the geeks.
A man of many hats.
Yeah, the geeks, the nerds, the band guys, the athletes, the jocks, the
cheerleaders,
the good lookers, the bad lookers, whoever, the troublemakers, the hoods. I was equally as friendly with all of them. And so I crossed all lines, which really gave me a good background on later on in life, because I really got a chance to really associate with a lot of people.
That's a great point.
But Jim Lobb, I just talked to him. I saw him in Dayton, Ohio. I was there at a writer's conference.
Which guy was he now? This guy? O'Donnell.
Dr. Jim Lobb.
Got it.
And Dr. Jim Lobb is a little bit older and a little bit wiser, and he retired from the United States Air Force as a doctor. And he has a private practice right outside the Wright-Patterson field there. And we had a couple of meals together and everything. And it was really kind of nice to be. I was back there for a writer's conference and have a friend just pop in and see me. It was really kind of nice. Francie LaChapelle, she was a good friend of my wife's and me back in high school. And she has a house or apartment in France. And every year she goes to France, for several months. And I mean, she just...
What was your wife's name in high school, Bill?
Carol Henry.
And how did you guys meet?
There you go. In fact, there's a picture of her right there.
This is very important right here.
Carol Henry.
And
there's a better picture of her in here in the yearbook section. I met my wife in officially 1963, our senior year, but I knew about her, knew of her, and been watching
the
her.
start of your senior, so the fall.
She says she doesn't remember me from freshman year. I said, oh yeah, okay. I said, everybody knew who I was. Come on. She said, I didn't know who you were. Yeah, okay. But I knew who she was, and I knew her and Francie. They hung out together, and Becky Gingrich and a bunch of them that were part of the Ultrawets, kind of the opposite of the Key Club.
Oh, okay.
And anyway, I called them the Geek Club. Anyway, and I was on the yearbook staff, and you can see my picture there. And notice a tie. I mean, gee whiz.
Well, Stanga hadn't gotten the scissors out yet.
Yeah. Anyway, but Mr. Lane was our advisor, and it was a good group of people. Baby Kurapat and Maureen McDaniel.
You got to tell me how you met.